All rise, please.
Morning, everyone. If you'd please join me for O Canada, followed by a moment of quiet contemplation. Okay, thank you. Please be seated. Okay, I'll look for the roll call from my clerk, Mr. McGill.
Thank you, Warden. Good morning, members of council. We have all members of council in attendance with a couple of exceptions. Councillor Norcross is absent with alternate Councillor Nicole Cox in attendance. And Councillor Prost is currently absent. You have your quorum. Thank you, Warden.
Thank you. Is there anyone that has to leave early today? Looks like we should be okay. I'll look for the approval of the agenda. Councillor Dolan, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor McDonald that the agenda for April the 14th, 2026 meeting of County Council be approved.
Any questions on the agenda? Try and remember to look online. Not seeing any, so all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Do I have a disclosure of pecuniary interest by any member of council? Okay, I'm not seeing any. If you find yourself in that situation later, please declare it at that time. Delegations and presentations, we have none. Consent agenda. Councillor Burkett, please.
Thank you. Good morning, Your Worship. Through you, moved by myself, second by Councillor Nicole Cox, that the council communications and proclamations March the 24th, 2026 to April the 13th, 2026 have been given due consideration be received.
Thank you. Any questions on the proclamations? Not seeing any, so all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Oh, you did make it. Adoption of council minutes. Deputy Warden Cogden, you made it on time.
My computer's not loaded up yet. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I'll go ahead, Jonathan.
I think the motion you're looking for, Deputy Warden, is that the following council minutes be confirmed and adopted, and Committee of the Whole reports be confirmed. County Council minutes March 24th, 2026. Committee of the Whole report March 24th, 2026. And Committee of the Whole confidential report March 24th, 2026. And that would just need a seconder.
Moved by the Deputy Warden, second by Councillor Laux. Questions on the minutes? Not seeing any. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Presentations and considerations of committee of the whole reports. Chair Evans, please.
Thank you, Your Worship, and good morning, Council. Motion is that the performance management recommendations contained within the Committee of the Whole report dated March 24th, 2026 be approved, including the confidential item. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Van Stavern. Back to you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Do I have any items to be pulled from performance management? I'm not seeing any, so all in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much. And now looking for Chair Measures, Human Services.
Good morning. Thank you, Your Worship. Good morning, Council. This is the Committee of the Whole report for Human Services, March 24th, 2026. The resolution will be moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Brian Smith, and that the Human Services recommendations contained within the Committee of the Whole report dated March 24, 2026 be approved, including the confidential item. Your Worship.
Thank you. Any items to be pulled from Human Services? I'm not seeing any, so all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And now Chair Dolan, please.
Thank you, Worship. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Miskimins that the corporate services recommendations contained within the Committee of the Whole report dated March 24th, 2026 be approved, including the confidential item.
Oh, any items to be pulled from corporate services? Not seeing any, so all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Presentations and consideration of special committee reports. We have none, but we do have one for the Lake Simcoe Regional Airport Board. That the minutes to the Lake Simcoe Regional Airport Board and the confidential Lake Simcoe Regional Airport Board meeting held March 26, 2026 be received. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Fryer, second by Councillor Rawson. Any other questions on that agenda? Not seeing any. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Counter's officers reports none. Motions of which notice has been previously given. We have none, and I have no notices of motion and no closed session. So considerations of the bylaws. Councillor Cox, please.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Michael Smith, that the bylaw number 7178-26 be enacted as bylaws of the County of Simcoe.
Any questions, comments on the bylaws? Not seeing any. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Well, other than it's a nice rainy day out there, do I have any announcements, members of council? I haven't any. Yes, Councillor Measures.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. I do wish to just comment. I know that Councillor Norcross is absent today, and I wish him all the best as he is absent. But I do have to admit that the series and the challenge between Councillor Norcross and myself regarding jerseys of the Stainer Siskins and the dreaded Alliston Hornets. Fortunately, the Stainer Siskins were victorious in the series and did take the Carruthers Cup once again. I will do my best to meet up with Councillor Norcross, perhaps at his home council chambers, and perhaps deliver them to his worship in person. And perhaps the deputy mayor can share my affection for the Hornets by admiring the fact that they lost in 6 games rather than 7. So there you go.
Perhaps that's why he couldn't make it today. He's in a bit of depression at the moment and wasn't able to come out. I hope he's okay as well. Any other announcements? Yes, Councillor Cox.
Yeah, I'd just like to say to council that within the month of May, there's probably very many hike for hospices across our county. And I would encourage people to either participate or donate. Doesn't matter what the amount is. The fact is that these hospices provide wonderful services. And in your last days of your life, they provide a caring service for the families. And I don't think there's probably anyone here who has not been touched by anything like that. So I urge people to please support our hospices. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Warden. Just a reminder that on Sunday at 1 o'clock at the New Tecumseh Arena, we are having a hat trick hockey tournament for the Stevenson Memorial Hospital Foundation. So I just want to say thank you to my colleagues that bought tickets, and I hope that everyone shows up and fills those seats. Thank you. Perfect.
Councillor Fryer.
Thank you, Warden. And
Mayor Measures has every right to have bragging rights over Mayor Norcross, and I just thought maybe in giving him a little bit of defense, I wanted to mention his honoring of receiving the Province of Ontario's Long Service Award recently for 25 years of service. So I thought that was a pretty special award and deserves some mention. So thank you.
Thank you. It certainly does. The world has changed over 20 years. If you've been here that long, from when you started to how everything operates now, you can agree with that, can you not, Lynn? Yes. Any other announcements? I'm not seeing any, so I'll look for the confirmatory bylaw. Councillor Cox, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Burkett, the bylaw number 7926 be enacted as a bylaw of the County of Simcoe.
Thank you. All in favor? That is carried. And lastly, that the April 14th, 2026 meeting of County Council be adjourned at 9:11 a.m. Moved by Councillor Fowler, second by Councillor Michael Smith. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. We'll just wait for the city reps. If there's any out there, we'll bring them in. Are we, looks like everybody's here. Jonathan, I'll get a quick roll call.
Thank you, Warden. So in addition to the members of council in attendance, we're joined by the city representatives, really Councillor Durnford, Aurelia Mayor McIsaac, Barrie Councillor Nagusi, and Barrie Councillor Retma are with us. Currently, Aurelia Councillor Fallis and Barrie Mayor Nuttall are absent, and you have your quorum. Thank you, Warden.
Thank you, Clerk McGill. I will look for the approval of the agenda. Councillor Dolan, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Warden. It moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Fryer that the agenda for the April 14th, 2026 meeting of Committee of the Whole be approved.
Any questions arising from the agenda? Not seeing any. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Next, do I have a disclosure of pecuniary interest by any member of council? Once again, if you find yourself in that situation later, please declare it at that time. Presentations and delegations for all sections I have none. So performance management, Chair Evans, please.
Thank you, Your Worship, and good morning again, Council. Under performance management, we have two items to deal with the museum today. We're pleased to have Kelly Swift-Jones with us today to talk about the first item. First off is our museum activity report from January to March 2026. This was a great year. As Councillor Dolan just mentioned to me, if you couldn't have a good year with an ice rink or an ice trail this year, we weren't doing very well. So, but regardless, the construction and the ice rink are just an indication of how well things are going with the museum right now. Are there any comments or questions for Ms. Jones? Okay, not seeing anybody. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Fowler. Seconded by Councillor Norris. Thank you very much. That item CCW 2026-119 dated April 14th, 2026 regarding museum activity report for January to March 2026 be received. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. Next, we have item CCW 2026-120, which is Museum Partnership Project with the Simcoe Area Women's Institute. If you will remember, we did have a presentation from Simcoe Women's Institute. I can't exactly remember the exact date, but this is a follow-up from that project and very worthwhile moving forward. Any comments or questions on this item? Seeing none, can mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Anderson, thank you. And Councillor Leduc, thank you very much. Motion is that item CCW 2026-120 dated April 14th, 2026 regarding a museum partnership project with Simcoe Area Women's Institute be received, and that staff work with members of the Women's Institute to complete a commissioned art installation that will be permanently displayed on the museum grounds commemorating the 100th anniversary of the Simcoe County Women's Institute as generally outlined in item CCW 2026-120. Further comments? Those in favor? Any opposed? And that motion carries. Thank you very much, Council, and I'll turn it back to you, Warden.
Thank you, Chair Evans. And now I'll look for chair measures for human services, please.
Thank you very much. Good morning, members of committee. This is the Human Services Consent Agenda. There is one item, however, it is a very good report for the 10-year planning update from our Simcoe County Paramedic Services. And so I'd give an opportunity to General Manager Sinclair if she'd like to speak to this, as it's a very good update. Jane?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everyone. The attached report really provides a check-in in terms of our long-term planning. We've been working with the consulting firm ORH since 2014 when we initially engaged them to look at both our resource allocations for future as well as our station locations. So this was a really very comprehensive check-in to see where we're at. And as outlined in the report, you can see some interesting updates in terms of our call demand. Interestingly enough, in the original study, they projected 8.1% call demand increase year over year for on a 10-year horizon. When we had our last update in 2021, it was reduced to 4.3, and the most recent still close to 4%, but 3.8%. So although we're continuing to see, as expected, an increase in our call demand for paramedic services, we're actually seeing the trend line decrease pretty substantively, which is really, we postulate that it's likely attributed to some major changes in the healthcare system, putting more investment into the community, and the mitigation strategies such as our community paramedicine. So we're really pleased to see the most recent update. And the report also provides us with a planning tool to check in on our stations, station locations. It really has validated our existing locations and our future locations for the next 10-year horizon. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. I note that we have the Chief of Paramedic Services, Mills, is here with us, and some of the command staff. And so members of council or committee, if there's any questions, we have them available to answer any of your questions. Members, do you have any questions you'd like to ask? Yes, Mr. Rawson, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Jim Sinclair, for the report. I love this report. I think it's very in-depth and strategic and provides a focus for our resource allocations and our future planning. So thank you for the great work done over time. My question is regarding the increases to resources, stations, and vehicles to meet the needs of the community. I think it's great. Currently, right now, we have a 50% recapture by the Ministry of Health for our costs. And I know there's a recapture end of year, and I believe last time we heard it was about 46% that the ministry was funding. So there's still a bit of a delta there. I'm just wondering, for the planning as we move forward for facilities and resource allocations, is there a pre-approval done by the ministry, or is there a hope that that would be captured if we do increase FTE counts, vehicles, and stations? I'm just wondering what that looks like. And my second question would be, the report speaks to MPDS and the positive work done with dispatch. And I think of CACC being a key partner. Last time we met, we had Mtera here talk about the work doing with our garbage and our recycling program. I look at CAC as being another key component, not that they're in garbage, but a key component and partner to the work that we do. But I don't see them here. I don't see them coming and talking to this body to talk about the partnership and work that they do. You and your team celebrate the work and celebrate the relationship, and I think Simcoe County Paramedic Services advocated and championed for this, but they're a key component. And there are other UTMs in the province, Niagara, Ottawa, Toronto, that have advocated the ministry that the UTM needs to have management oversight of dispatch. I think they need to be here. So I would just like to ask that as a follow-up as well.
Jane?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for those questions. Firstly, the question about the planning guide and pre-approval with the Ministry of Health. So this is a long-term planning guide for both resources, stations, et cetera. And it is exactly that. It's a planning tool. So the recommendations around increased resources, new stations, posts, et cetera, are recommendations at this point for our consideration. But how the process works is annually, our paramedic services team will actually review the call demand. So the projections are 3.8%, but we'll do an actual review. What happened in the last year? We'll look at other key factors. And based on what's happening each respective year, then we'll come back and make recommendations to council. So it is a planning guide. It is not in stone. In other words, it doesn't predict that each of these years we're going to add X amount of resources or proceed with the stations. That requires a more fulsome review on an annual basis. So in terms of pre-approval from the Ministry of Health, we don't have pre-approval. How the Ministry of Health works is their funding is approved based on the year prior approved resources from our governance, which is County Council. And so the Ministry of Health, to your point about around 46%, it's always 1 year behind. And to compact that funding program, they don't consider annual inflationary increases year over year. So we're always a little bit behind trying to catch up. When we add resources in one fiscal year, we'll receive 50%, but not until the following year. So that's how the system works and how the funding works. In terms of dispatch, your point is well taken. They are a very significant stakeholder in the delivery of paramedic services. Our team does work closely with dispatch services. I know this has been identified in earlier discussions about the importance, and we certainly can look at providing an update report on the MPDS and having a representative from our local dispatch attend council in a future session. I know they're working very hard. It's still early days with the new software program, MPDS, and we know our dispatch service is working very hard to achieve accreditation, which will again allow other types of mitigation strategies when calls are received. So depending on the acuity level or the nature of the call, there may be other options rather than just dispatching paramedic service. So some exciting activity happening right now. So we'll take that under consideration, and certainly with an update report on MPDS, we can look at having a representative from dispatch attend council to speak to the activity that they're working on.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, James Sinclair.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I tend to agree with you, Councillor. I think we should hear from the CACC as their significant partner when it comes to our paramedic services, so we should hear from them. I'm looking to the floor. I know Councillor Leduc put his hand up, but did Chief Mills, I saw you motion. Did you have something you want to add? Or you're good at this time? Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Leduc.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Mine is just a comment. I know that this is a great report, great master plan, but I'm assuming it just took into SCOPA 7 as the actual guiding document for it, and I'm just concerned about the South Simcoe growth plan and looking at that being a big part of our growth in the near future. So I'm just wondering, and I think you made it clear that this is a document it's a living document. It's not a set in stone, like you said. So I'm hoping that's the case. And because just what the province announced last week, when I look at the future plans, that there's nothing in the south area. So I'm kind of concerned about that. But if it's a living document, I'm happy with that, because it wasn't part of the probably wasn't part of the master plan when you look through this. It was based on SCOPA 7, but seeing that growth plan is quite extensive, I'm hoping that there's some flexibility here.
Through you, Mr. Chair. It is a living document, and so we will have regular updates to this document to incorporate changes in planning. And even if I can use an example, at the time of this study, they looked at data, an 18-month period, 23 to 24. And at that time, it was before an increase in offload delay funding. And they assessed the average length of a call to be 73 minutes. So that's an example of something we want to revisit, knowing the significant improvements and reductions in offload delay. The average length of call is likely considerably shorter. So it is a living document. We will do regular updates and check-ins. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for the question and comment. Councillor Brian Smith, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And I just wanted to comment on a couple of things. Number one, it's a little disappointing to hear, however, I understand how the system works. It's a little disappointing to hear that we're always a year behind, especially when we're looking at the growth patterns, especially in Simcoe County, where, you know, Wasaga Beach, for example, one of the fastest growing communities in the country, our numbers continue to go up. And the fact that we're constantly having to wait that year when in fact we can anticipate what that growth is. So why aren't we just moving that forward and getting those dollars out to make good things happen? I couldn't agree more with my friend Councillor Rawson with respect to everything he said, but with dispatch in particular, I would like to see them here to make a presentation to county as well. I had the good fortune to be able to, along with my fire chief and deputy fire chief, do a tour of Barrie Fire Dispatch not long ago. And I can tell you, it was a major eye opener for me. You know, dispatch, often we take all of our first responders for granted, I think. It's just, you know, we know when something happens, we pick up the phone and they're going to be there. But at the end of the day, if they don't get it right at dispatch, nothing else matters after that. In many cases, especially in a case of life and death. And to be able to be in that room watching and observing for about 35, 40 minutes and able to speak to those folks and ask some good questions and get their responses. It is, I would say it's one of the toughest jobs you could have in emergency services and stressful because, you know, often these folks are on the phone and they are hearing the worst of the worst and they never get to hear often the outcome. Or the phone goes dead. It was a real eye opener. So I couldn't agree more, Councillor Rawson. It'd be good to have them come, not only give us you know, information on dollars and cents and so on and so forth, and how that's all working, but just to give us you know, a good solid outlook that they are a big part of emergency services, and I consider them our first responders as well. Thank you.
Good comments. Thank you very much. One last time. Oh, yes, Jane, would you like to go ahead again?
Through you, Mr. Chair, if I can just put a plug in, I would echo those comments about the importance of dispatch services. And we have our 911 awards later this week on Thursday, where we acknowledge and recognize the efforts. These are the people behind the scenes that you typically don't see or hear, and they make a really important role in emergency response services. So thank you for those comments.
Thank you, General Manager. Over to Councillor Gordon.
Thank you. Councillor Smith hit on a really valid point too. The emergency communicators often are overlooked. Maybe not with the county, but I know in the policing world where I was emergency communicator for many years with the OPP, they're not part of the debrief. So you'll go through a shift where you have multiple traumatic incidents that you're dealing with and juggling, especially in the large, you know, the large regional call centers they have now. I was with them when we used to have districts all over the province, Barrie and Kenora, Canada. Now you'd have all of these things in one place. Anyway, the key is we got to make sure that we include the dispatchers and the communicators and the call takers in the debrief after these critical incidents, because a lot of time in my experience, they've just been kind of left to fester on their own and deal with it. While the frontline officers who actually walk into the blood, the gore, the trauma, they have supports, but the folks that are handling the phone calls and walking people through, you know, stopping a sucking chest wound or, you know, CPR, they're not part of that. So that's super important, especially as we are in this time of recognition for emergency communicators, to lobby and advocate that they are not left behind out of the critical incident debrief and not just left to the to the EAP systems to manage on their own. that's sort of a sidebar. What I was actually wanting to talk about was the capital opportunities that may present themselves for some of these enhancements and new builds. We're not talking about it yet because it hasn't happened yet, but with the province's push to have municipalities and regions drop their development charges by 50% or lose access to this new slush fund, it's anticipated that we'll get a report and a recommendation and likely pursue that, that change to our development charges at lower tier and at the upper tier. And when that happens, my question is, are we factoring in the ability to apply to this new fund, which has yet to really be fleshed out, to help us maybe build sooner some of these emergency services facilities or enhance them, because they clearly qualify for development charges, but they may qualify for more under this new fund if we're asked to forego the hard services component. So I'm just wondering if there's any conversation in the back rooms talking about this likely change that's going to come, and if that will maybe change the order of things that are on our 10-year capital plan, because I know we're looking at it at the lower tier level. And actually one of our projects is identified in this report. So fantastic, but I'm looking for ways to fund that to move it up on the priority list. If there is external funding from the province, that would definitely help. So we wouldn't have to carry the Infrastructure Ontario loans.
Perhaps we can go to Trevor. Have you got a comment on that? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. We know about as much as you do through the information that's been communicated from the province, but I do think that your thoughts are in line with what we'd like to see in terms of more planning, coordination, in terms of prioritizing when the new growth that is being challenged now, as Councillor Leduc pointed out, we are going to have to incorporate that in our plans. We're going back to the province saying this is not what we've anticipated, so we're going to need assistance in terms of building that into our future plans, and that will be a financial impact. So we will definitely point that out. I don't have any indication of exactly how that's going to happen at this time. Councillor, thank you.
Great. Thank you very much for the input. Are there any further questions? All right. Then I'd like to ask if Councillor Rawson would like to move this recommendation along with Councillor Brian Smith. It is for consent that the following consent items, having been given due consideration, be received. And there is only one item on this anyway. Is that fine? I will call the motion then. All in favor? Okay, that carries. Thank you. Moving on to our next item. This is another paramedic services item. We have the paramedic services facility plan update. GM Sinclair, this is a really good plan. It also goes along with our 10-year plan as well. So I'll leave that to you to explain some of the comments in this.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And so this report provides an update in line with our long-term planning review process. As mentioned, it really affirms the existing station locations and posts that have been developed. And it does highlight some of the current activities, such as the station development in Wabashine, which we're planning to open the last quarter of this year. Very exciting development. Talks about some property acquisitions and the newest development in the Midland area. We have been approached by fire services with the town of Midland regarding a new development that they are approaching and looking to see about co-location with our paramedic services. We have run the location through our modeling tools provided through RH Consulting. And it is the location that they're investigating is an ideal location, better location than the existing site. As a reminder to council, we currently own the existing station in Midland. We purchased it a number of years ago. It is an older facility, not the most ideal design. And the new location is a much better location with growth and looking at a number of variables. So we are requesting council's approval to provide a letter of intent to the town of Midland to look at a future partnership for this redevelopment.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions from the floor in regards to this this report? Yes, Councillor Cox, please.
I have a comment. Thank you for letting us know about the Wabashine one, because that will mean moving out of Coldwater and then to Wabashine, which is obviously a more convenient and closer to the highway. I'm speaking to the station in Severn that's upcoming that you have here at Carleon and Division. And I think that's a good, obviously it is a good because it's near Highway 11. And I wanted to ensure that the Washago one would probably still exist because that's a busy one also for that up north area. And I do get comments from residents about, and I see their time has improved up there, which makes me feel much better. I think it was 8 minutes and something else that they've really highly improved. So I just wanted to thank you for that because that's been a concern for up in that north area. Thank you.
Thank you. Jane?
Through you, Mr. Chair. So the Washago station is in the long-term plan, and we continue to search for the appropriate property in Severn. That has been a bit of a challenge. That typically is our biggest challenge, is finding property in the right location, but we're continuing to work towards that. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there other questions from the floor for this report? Councillor Brian Smith.
Thank you very much. More a comment, Mr. Chair, if I may. I want to commend Midland Fire and County Paramedic Services here and the county for taking the forethought to discuss cohabiting in one building. We all know that the cost to build fire stations and paramedic stations and schools, you name it, is just, it's over the moon now. It's just not sustainable. And so to hear that we've got services who haven't necessarily worked together in the past, although they do out on the road and saving lives, but commingling has not been something that has really been looked at. And I think that this is a real positive step forward and can set a great example, not just across Simcoe County, but across the province, to make sure that when we're looking to build these new facilities, that I'm not saying they all have to work out of the same kitchen and the same bathrooms and so on and so forth, but just the cost savings in combining that building and those bays, I think, is going to be a significant savings. So I just wanted to commend the services for doing that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Good comment. Mr. Gordon is next. Bill Gordon.
Thank you. Following along again, Councillor Smith, this is something that I think more of us are looking at now. We're looking at the success models that we've seen on a big version in Barrie, this campus approach. When we as our municipality realized we need to have a new fire hall in our capital plan, we could advance that by partnering with the county. We'd achieve some synergies, of course, in shared foundations and whatnot. And I believe the point's really well placed about trying to find the ideal location. So we've now sharing some of the county's pain as you try and locate spots that are within those heat maps for response times. We really haven't ever had to do that before as a lower tier municipality. It's pretty simple. Where do we own land? And that's where it goes. Well, when we're planning now, we need to do that same exercise that you've done in trying to find what's the best location to serve our growing community for a fire hall. And then no surprise, that aligns and almost overlaps perfectly with the best location to serve from an EMS standpoint. So I think looking for these synergies and sharing between these two services that just fit like hand in glove just make a lot of sense. And I know I've been advocating for this sort of campus approach in our municipality, and I can see where it could easily be replicated in our partner municipalities in the county. So I'm looking forward to seeing this go through. It's going to take a bit of time. We have acquired the suitable lands in the right spot, and that's half the magic, because the right spot might have several people's homes on it, or a pizza or something like that. And just taking people's property is never a good news story, no matter how benevolent the cause is. And we got very lucky in that the heat map happened to overlay some property that was available, and so we've acquired that, and look forward to exploring this future together. And again, maybe it'll serve as a model for more campus-style approaches for emergency services throughout the county.
Thank you very much. Congratulations to Midland for having that foresight. Councillor Dolan.
Thank you. I just wanted to point out that in the town of Innisfil, we partnered with the County of Simcoe about 15 years ago and built a purpose-built fire station paramedic, and we now have two. Our Alcona Station 1 is also, our regional training center is also now hosting paramedics. So just making the offer, if you wanted to reach out about what worked, what didn't, what they would have done differently, we'd be happy to share that information.
Thank you very much. Other questions? Okay. I would just like to comment too on what Councillor Dolan, Chair Dolan was just mentioning. In Clearview Township, we built a fire hall with a paramedic station as well. We even have our OPP located there. So we have a little mini campus, Councillor Gordon, at that location. Perhaps you come over, visit, and I'll show you around what it looks like. And it's proven to be a very successful model. Given the fact, of course, that Clearview Township is a very large township as far as physical space, we still receive paramedic services from ESSA, from Wasaga Beach, and from Collingwood, servicing into our communities. But that station at Stayner is a very critical part of this plan. So I'm really glad to see that we've done some good planning here, and I think that's what this motion represents. If there's nothing further, I'll call for Councillor Gordon. I'm going to ask you to be the mover, and I'll look for a seconder on the floor. Mr. Rawson, thank you. And the item is that item CCW 2026-011 dated April the 14th, 2026 regarding paramedic services facility plan update be received, and that staff proceed with a letter of intent to partner on a shared emergency services station with the town of Midland as generally outlined in item CCW 026011, and that staff update the Midland station in the County of Simcoe long-term financial plan. If there's nothing further, I'll call the motion. All in favor? That carries. Thank you very much, committee. Your worship, at this time, I have the call for any other matters for consideration. Are there any other matters? And seeing none, I will turn the chair back over to you, your worship, as there is an in-camera item.
Yes, there's an item 14.2 on our agenda, which is a social and community services lease. Is there anybody want to go in camera to discuss that or have questions on it? I'm not seeing any, so we will just pass that motion at the end of the meeting then, so, correct? Yeah. So then I will turn it over to Chair Dolan for corporate services and thank the reps. Now, you're welcome to stick around for our discussion on Bill 100 if you'd like to take a nice seat in the audience there.
Thank you, Wardens. So we're on item 9.1, which is the Universal Development Design Guidelines. And I would look to, is there any comments or questions on this item? Seeing none, I would ask for a mover and a seconder, please. For this consent item, moved by Councillor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Norris, that the following consent item, having given due consideration, be received. All those in favor? That is carried. And are there any other corporate services matters for consideration today? Seeing none, that's all for me, Your Worship.
Boy, a short day there. We'll go to Chair Evans for performance management.
Thank you, Your Worship, and good morning, Council. First item that is on the agenda is consent item. We have two consent items for consideration to be received. The first one is CCW 2026-015, Simcoe County Municipalities Insurance Pool Update. And the second one is, as mentioned, CCW 2026-126, Head of Council and Council Composition Update, Introduction of Provincial Bill 100, Better Regional Governance Act of 2026. Just to preface this all, this is an informational report. One of the items is, of course, contentious and is going to take a lot of discussion. And that discussion is going to be taking place in the future. Today is for consideration and receipt as information. I know this council has previously expressed a governance model that differs from what we see in Bill 100. Today's item is about to receive the information on the legislation, which is still in draft and subject to consultation. I'm going to allow questions of clarification, in terms of procedural, questions of staff, impacts, process questions. But I'll tell you right now, I will not receive questions or motions directed towards changing our county position today. This is a huge, this is a big issue, of course. We all know about that. This is something that's going to have far-reaching impacts. So if you have considerations or reaffirming or putting motions forward, they can be brought forward separately at a future meeting. Just want to make that clear right off the bat. So,
Mr.
questions to
Chairman,
staff?
I just talking to the clerk, I think we could bring motions today on some of the report, but not on weighted vote, because this council's already made a decision on weighted vote,
Yep.
and we've also made a decision on the 17. That is something we endorsed, but it's the appointed warden and the, what was the other? Strong chair powers we could comment on today.
Okay, at your discretion, I'm happy to do that. I was going to just keep it for information, but I'm happy to, if you want to include the first appointed chair and the strong chair powers as consideration for motions. So yeah, just to clarify, that's okay. No, it's a very fluid process, so that's no problem. And we're here, you know, I totally acknowledge that this is something that's not going to, it's going to take a lot of discussion, so it should. These have very big impacts for us. And, you know, although the services we provide in Simcoe won't change, certainly the pen that authorizes them will. And that's what we have to discuss, I think, overall moving forward. So that being said, there is an item here as well about Simcoe County Municipal Insurance Pool update. Why don't we kick it off with that one? Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. So you waving your hand. Any questions or comments on Simcoe County Municipalities Insurance Pool update? We have Councillor Fryer and Councillor Rawson will start it off.
And thank you. I don't think this is going to be controversial in any way because it's an excellent report. I just wanted to say how pleased I am with the results of the move to the reciprocal, both here at the county level and at the municipal level, where we received similar reporting on the excellent year that had taken place. So congratulations to staff. It's an example of working collaboratively together and finding synergies that we can on expenses that we all incur. And there's other opportunities out there, and I know staff are well in line with looking to them. So congratulations on the results.
Heartily concur, Councillor Fryer. Thank you. Councillor Rawson, please.
Thank you. I won't echo his comments about the report, well done, but for GM Wilcox and the team that made this happen, I talked to our staff often about this, and this has been a game changer for our municipality. The level of expertise, the support, the due diligence, the risk management, like there's a number of large files that we've had to rely on so many other providers, and they've just really complemented the depth and the support of this pool up. And thank you, because it's been really a big game changer for us. So appreciate the work.
Thank you, Councillor Rawson. General Manager Wilcox.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you very much for those comments. You can see it's a pretty detailed report. I did want to provide the volume of information because there's been a significant amount of work that's gone on to really put this pool in place and set us up for the future. Beyond the financial impacts, which were significant, we saw 10% savings on an overall cost of $20 million in the county for insurance. In the second year, we'll see another 10% savings. So just financially, there's a significant ongoing annuity that we will see forever for the residents of the county. And way beyond that is the risk management component that really we talked about, but is really coming into being in terms of the processes that we've set in place, the information sharing, and the standardization across our municipalities, where we're doing things like we're looking at significant weather events and how we're going to coordinate those to communicate those. We're also setting standards that will help us defend what we've done in terms of meeting minimum standards. So our risk manager has been very active with municipalities in terms of putting different things in place. And I think this is just going to go on, like the benefits will continue to accrue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, General Manager. Appreciate that. Okay, moving on. Comments or questions on 2026-126 Head of Council composition update. Start off with Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Chair.
You want to pass the first one first? Okay. All right, why don't we pass the first one first, the original motion, Councillor McDonald, and we'll come back to you, and then we can deal with the two other potential motion items, being appointed chair and strong mayor chair, warden powers, whatever they may be. Okay, good. The motion is, pardon me, can I get a mover and a seconder, please? For information, Councillor Fryer and Councillor Judith Cox. Thank you very much. That the following consent items, having been given due consideration, be received. With the exception of 11.2 with regards to appointed chair and strong chair powers. Correct, clerk? Okay, great. Those in favor? Those opposed? Thank you very much. Motion is carried. Moving on now. Shall we, Chair, do you want to deal with each one individually? Would that make it clear for you? Warden?
To the floor.
You want to open her up? Let her go? Okay, Councillor McDonald, head us off, please.
Thank you, Chair Evans.
Councillor Fryer.
I don't believe I'm the only one in this house that just has concerns, respectfully, of what has been put into that bill. And so I did a lot of just researching, trying to figure out where they were coming from and why this would somewhat happen. So excuse me. So what they have felt that was the pros of bringing this forward as for an appointed a warden and the actually the mayor's power chair, or pardon me, the chair's powers. So they would like to have this is not me speaking, this is what I've just heard from different parts and put it together from the government, not from ourselves. They want a centralized oversight. Provincial appointments can ensure alignment with provincial policies, priorities, and standard across the counties. I believe that we have that already, but this is what they're saying this would do. They also said consistency and uniformly appointed wardens can promote consistent service delivery bylaws, implementation and administrative procedures between the counties, which we already do. Also, the professionalism, the province may, pardon me, select candidates based on the qualifications, merit, rising administrative compensation where they believe that our talent is that we're smaller, like we have 16 municipalities, 2 separated cities, that our talent wouldn't be as large as what they're going to pick from. I've been on 16 years for the county, and I believe that each warden has brought many gifts and has done a great job partnering and working with the province. So I did, and then they figure that there's faster decision making when the province can fill the leadership vacancy quickly, avoiding local council delays, deadline, or deadlock, or political infighting. I believe that in most cases that of what we have been doing is completely the opposite. We try to debate it, we try to bring everything to the table, and then we go away with what is the best educated answers. And so then the cons of it, excuse me just 1 second here. The cons that I believe and that we will be looking at would be reduced local democratic legitimacy. Residents and their elected councillors may view an appointed warden as less accountable to local voters and their priorities, not living or being any part, may not be a part of this area. We could have them from any part of Ontario. It doesn't mean that we're going to have them where they have lived and worked and been a part of the County of Simcoe. So that's concerning. Also, erosion of local autonomy. Provincial appointments can undermine municipal self-government and the council's ability to choose leadership that reflects community preferences. Also, a risk of polarization. So the appointments can become vehicles for the provincial political patronage to exert political control over local matters, which I think if we look into our own municipalities when they were offered or given, not offered, the mayor's powers, we've seen a lot of red flags that came up in that. So just having someone that sits in the warden's chair that could also downplay every single thing that comes forward in our own local councils, and also sitting here at the county. The other one was that, just a second here, I'm just going to make sure I get them. Okay. Also that there be a mismatch with local needs. A provincially appointed warden may have local knowledge and understandings of activity and specific issues, in most cases coming from another one, which just relies back onto that same one, that they wouldn't have that. Also, weakened council cohesion. Councillors may feel sidelined, reducing cooperation between the warden and the council and harming government's effectiveness. We have a very good way of doing it through our governance, and it's worked so well for all the years that I've been here. The governance has taken things. We might not get the answers that we like at the end of the day, but they did the right thing, and that's the main thing, that we do the best that we can for the county. And then the provincial appointment is considered weight legal frames. There's also checks and balances, tenure, recall, clear performance criteria mechanisms for local input and transparency to mitigate these and downsides. And also the persistence of local stakeholders may resist decisions made by an appointee, leading to conflict, lower trust, and potential legal political challenges. So I just hope that together as one, that we come together in this House to have a letter at least sent stating our concerns. Because if we don't do our concerns, then it looks like we're okay with everything that's going to happen. And this is just the first part of something that could happen. We're not saying what the government's doing, and they may have their reasons, but I think that the biggest one that we'll have a chance at probably is having the power of the chair. They seem to have, I've talked to our MPP, and I'm sure and others have talked to it, they seem to be in favor of an appointed warden, but are not really loud on the powers of the chair. I think that we should have all the information that they know of how they're going to implement if it was an appointment, so that we can actually work together with them to make sure that it is the best fit for the County of Simcoe. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Councillor McGlone. That was good. Thank you very much. Moving on, Councillor Fryer.
Thank you, Chair Evans, and no need to repeat what Councillor McDonald has covered. So I just wanted to say that the apparent appointment of the warden on the go-forward basis is the thing that troubles me the most as well. I know we put a plan together and put it forward to the province that I think is a very good plan. I do believe that now 16 representatives next term can elect the right person for the job for that 4-year period based on what they need to have done and what the persons can bring to the table. I also liked the way we had inserted the warden into the weighted vote system with the idea that I believe it's under the Elections Act that the warden would have to have a vote. We were looking at inserting the warden using, I believe, the minimum amount of what is weighted to one of the municipalities. And I'd echo as well that I do believe we should issue something to the province. I know, Warden Clark, I know you'll be working with the province and talking to them, but I'd like to see us put something formally together to put support to your endeavors in that regard. And I'll listen to the rest of the House and decide from there on how we proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Fryer. I appreciate that. And just to review, just so if you haven't missed, the warden did put out a letter on Friday. 3 main points, if I can encapsulate them. One is that the bill is proposed, is not passed, that the legislation, as we know, does not exist yet, and the province is still consulting. So that's something that I just wanted to make that clear, and just to reiterate, thank you what you said on Friday. So. Okay, moving forward, Councillor Gordon, then Councillor Dolan, and then Councillor McClellan. Councillor Dolan, please, and then at the end, Councillor Lavoie. Thank you. Councillor Gordon.
Thank you, through your chair. I realize the province is consulting, but a lot of that's just, that's just a word, right? Like this is going to happen. I don't think we're going to see this walked back. So I've kind of resigned myself to, I've been supportive of the reduction of county council size because I didn't believe it was compatible with the increase in compensation. I didn't think the two could coexist, and I've said that. But we never proposed this this appointment of a chair, let alone strong chair. We had a different plan, which, the one I was hoping we would end up with is where we basically advertise the job and we hire somebody to be a non-voting head of council and be our advocate and lobby with the province. And that was more tangible and could probably, we may end up with a better person for the job than even if we appointed amongst ourselves. But that clearly the province has other ideas. This, in my mind, we can put letters in and complain all we want. This is going to happen. But what I really wanted to call to our attention is something that doesn't seem to be getting any media cycles and will impact a strong chair or strong warden, just as it impacts the strong mayors. And that right now, for the remaining 34 days, there's a proposed regulatory amendment on the regulatory registry, which is not a website most people visit, to update the strong mayor designation for election year rules. And I think this exposes a huge gap in the current strong mayor framework, which would impact a strong chair and strong warden as well. And I'm simply encouraging members here to promote this in their community and make sure you take the time to comment. As much as I think that commenting to a large degree is symbolic, I think they still do take the time to read and hear these things. And in this case, I think it's worthy of our support. And just to encapsulate, and rather than just, wing it here, I'm going to read one paragraph of what this is about and why I believe it's so important. Realizing that in the absence of this passing, the gap that I'm about to say they're trying to close exists right now. So the analysis of this regulatory impact is to clarify election year rules for designated municipalities by restricting outgoing heads of council from proposing the municipal budget for the year immediately following a regular municipal election, and by setting out restricted acts, which don't exist, for heads of council, especially the outgoing ones, and their additional powers and duties. This would restrict heads of council from appointing or removing the CAO, other municipal division heads, and if not already authorized in the municipal's budget, exercising their bylaw power to dispose of property valued over $50,000 or to authorize expenditures or liabilities over $50,000 if it can be determined that either 3/4 of the outgoing members of council will not be members of new council or that the outgoing head of council will not be the new head of council. So this is closing a gap that could stop a bitter, unelected mayor who wasn't successful in re-election from just destroying their municipality, firing whoever they want, hiring their buddies, incurring all the staggering costs that come with these HR changes, reorganizing the place, blowing money, setting the next council up for failure with a ridiculous budget that they propose because they can do that unilaterally. These are all things that, well, I guess we're a swing and a miss. The province never contemplated that in the strong mayor powers. And it's something that I and my administration have been talking about as a concern, and I even brought it to both the minister and the premier's attention through text, because give the guys credit, they do answer, and they sent me the link to this. So it is something that is live right now. It is being contemplated. On my assumption, what's being contemplated is going to happen, but it still wouldn't hurt for folks to take the couple minutes to submit their voice of support or not on this change for the strong mayor powers, because it will also impact the strong chair and strong warden in the next cycle. So I think this is a really important one that's kind of slid under the radar. We don't see any media on it, and it really is deserving of support in my mind because it's a huge gap.
Thank you, Councillor Gordon. Appreciate that. I wonder if you could just restate that website again for those of us that have heard it for the first time.
Right. So it's called the Regulatory Registry. .govanca, so .gov.on.ca, and the OREG number that you're going to search for, because there's a lot of stuff in there, is 530/22. So 530/22. This is like the ERO website, only it's not for development, it's for changes to to the other legislation.
Applaud your investigatory skills in finding that. Thank you, sir. Okay, moving on. Councillor Dolan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I very much appreciate the comments from Councillor McDonald and Councillor Gordon. I'm not totally shocked that was put forward, as that in Durham Region they appointed a chair and that seems to have worked, but in Niagara Falls not so much, or Niagara Region I should say. One of the other big question mark still is when Mr. Flack made the announcement, he said that the strong chair powers would mirror what the strong mayor powers are now, but it doesn't say it would be exactly the same, and I'm concerned about the 2/3 majority that can overrule the strong chair. While I share some of Councillor Gordon's dismay on, advocating and it not going anywhere, I still believe we should be advocating for democracy. I think without breaking any confidences, I can say at the MOU table, what seems to work best is when the province announces something they're going to do, we either say, great, go ahead, or really dumb idea. Or sometimes we say, really dumb idea, but if you insist on doing it anyway, make sure you do A, B, and C. And I think that's where we should go with this. I think we should go with the, don't like the idea of an appointed chair, but if you insist on going down this road, make sure it's someone who knows Simcoe County, who's lived in Simcoe County. Make sure it's somebody with, a certain amount of governance experience. Like, even I was chatting with the warden about this, even if we put forward like 6 names of people that we think would be good and let them pick one. But I think we should be pushing back and saying no. But if you insist, then please at least make this part of the criteria to have a person sit in that chair. And with that, then, Clerk, if I can, through you, Mr. Chair, ask for a amended recommendation to ask that the warden write a letter to the province and CC members of County Council asking to allow us to elect our head of council. And you can make this sound better than I'm going to make it sound, but notwithstanding, if they insist, please make sure it's somebody with experience in governance and somebody with lived experience in Simcoe County. And I'm sure there might be other people who want to add to that list of criteria, but those are the 2 that come to the top of my head. And I would ask for, if there's anybody who'd be willing to second that for me.
You have a seconder for the motion? Councillor McClellan would like to second that motion. We have a number of people here still to speak. I suggest that. Sorry? Councillor Coggin, Deputy Warden Coggin.
Thank you. And maybe just to move things along, anticipating this, we did reach out to Clerk McGill and anticipated a draft. So he does have a draft of what we thought might be talked about this afternoon, just to kind of keep us on track. So I didn't know maybe if Clerk McGill wanted to share that with the House.
Thank you.
I wasn't aware of that, but maybe you could share that.
All right, it was in conversation with Councillor McDonald. So Councillor McDonald and I just emailed the clerk to be prepared for today.
Okay, well, why don't we give a few minutes to pull that together? In the meantime, we can take, we've got some number of people still have comments. We're down to Councillor McClellan, please.
Thank you, Chair. I do fully believe that members of council who represent residents should always be elected, but I think we're too far away from that now. To me, this reeks of provincial political control. Strong mayor's powers has resulted in very few new houses, but it sure has got a lot of CAOs fired with big payouts from the taxpayer. Democracy is dying, and this is what it looks like. This is the beginning. I don't think the province has any business appointing our head of council, and it's quite disturbing that all of this is happening. So I absolutely support everything Lynn said, and hopefully they listen. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Lapointe.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm certain that the Ontario government is meant to thank each and every one of us for the work that we have done. I do want to say that I think serving in this chambers has been an honor, and I've learned a lot from each and every one of you. So I don't think we're the problem. I do want to say, though, that from our previous discussions, there were a couple of loose ends, and one of the more meaningful ones might be how these committees get filled in the future. And a good way to do that might be to use some of the now second-tier members by opening up whatever procedural bylaw would be allowed to do that. And the final point that I have is that strong chair powers and the weighted vote will result in 3 municipalities being able to pass a motion. So it's something to think about in terms of where the power might shift to within these chambers.
Thank you, Councillor Lavoie. I have the warden and then Councillor Measures.
Thank you.
And then I will let everybody have 1 round and speak, and then we can go back for seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had quite a discussion at this as Western Wardens as well, and they are sending a letter with the very similar concerns, because if it happens at Simcoe County, it's liable to happen at some of the other counties. I certainly understand why the province feels the need to make sure it's a warden they can work with all the potential growth that's coming this way, with the partnerships we have. Paramedics, we talked about at length this morning, social housing, long-term care, and the homeless strategy. I understand that, but I think we need to focus on what's different about Simcoe County. We are 16 municipalities. And yeah, it's great you got a warden that can work with the province. Can the province choose a warden that can represent 16 different municipalities? And our current bylaw requires that it's 50% plus 1. So, you must have at least 50% of the House support to sit in this chair. And that's the concern I have going forward. And I said this at Western Wardens. I mean, if the minister came up here and the 16 mayors and ministers went in a boardroom and 4 hours later come out and said, this is the warden, I think the council could live with that, because you had an open dialogue and an open say. So, the devil really is in the details here on how they're going to go about appointing. I want to remind council, it still says may, that the minister may. So we need to strongly urge and show the differences. We're 16 very different municipalities. Very hard for them to appoint someone to work with that large, and we're still a large group, right? And that they really need to work with us on appointing the warden if they're bound and bent to go down that road. And with the strong warden powers, I don't even know how that vote's going to work. Is it a weighted vote? Is it a straightforward? Right now, what we said is governance issues or waiving the procedure bylaw. There is no weighted vote, right? If we want to waive the procedure bylaw for the day, so technically overthrowing a warden's decision or strong mayor's decision would be waiving the procedure bylaw. It shouldn't be a weighted vote or is it? And these are the details that we really don't know. So definitely I have concerns with the strong warden powers. Absolutely. I don't, especially when appointed. So we definitely need to voice our concerns and encourage the province that they really need to sit down and work with us on this new position on how it lays out. It may be set in stone. Well, then what we'd ask for is it be delegated back to us, because it does say may. So my 2 cents worth.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moving on to Councillor Measures. Councillor Measures, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. This has all been very interesting. I'd like to go back, if you wouldn't mind, to a quick comment that Councillor Gordon said. Councillor Gordon, you said it's just going to happen. We already know that. And it's not far from the truth. I think that is what's going to happen. But I do want to point out a couple things. Each person in this committee that sits in this room today and those that are joining us online as members are elected officials. Each of us are independent legislators. That's who we are. We are independent legislators. We do not have a political party system in place in our municipal worlds here in Ontario, which is thankful. As an upper tier government, our regions and counties exist simply to serve the needs of the lower tier municipalities and their responsibilities. As each of us know, our municipal act tells us that we're responsible for social services as municipal leaders. We're responsible for the partnership of paramedics as municipal leaders. But what has happened is we have developed this county so that it does provide a better service for all of us, which is why the motto of this county is the greater good. We're here to help solve problems. We're here to provide efficient and effective solutions and services that the citizens require and need. And that's the point of why we are elected officials. Each of us have one vote at the table on a general basis. This municipality, this upper tier has this weighted vote system, which we've discussed and debated and amended and persuaded and done everything we could to make it work. The appointed heads of council, it does happen in other places across the globe. If you've done some research, I want you to know that a municipal mayor in China is appointed by the provincial government. A municipal mayor in Syria is appointed by the federal government. And here in Ontario, we are the only level at the county or region levels that have any type of appointed heads of council. We're the only level of government in Canada that has any type of appointed chair or appointed head that has a vote and then has or will have appointed powers. So this is highly unusual that this is the direction that we're going. When it was said earlier that democracy is how our country continues to exist underneath this this beautiful system of government that we have. And so I look forward to this people making their comments to the provincial government about this this bill and express their concern about democracy being damaged and injured across our region. And I also want to point out, of course, that this region here called Simcoe County is an agricultural region, very strong agricultural community, and very strong urban center. And the economics of our entire area are that we work with our neighboring areas. So we all know commuters who commute away from our county, who leave our county to go to work other places. We also know lots of people from away from our county who come here to recreate and to enjoy our county. So we have to find that balance and show that leadership is about democracy and supporting that and listening to the public. So this is a really good example of how we need to make sure that we get the word out to the public that they have to make that opportunity, they have to use that opportunity to put their comments forward. Mr. Chair, I do look forward to the time when we do have recommendations that are being brought forward, as you indicated that you didn't want to hear them today, but that's fine. I do look forward to that debate furthering here in the House. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Measures. Yes, certainly, but I look forward to a fulsome debate on all four of the topics that fall under, hopefully. We have an opportunity this, if not today, on two of them. We'll move the other two to the next meeting. Next I have on the list is Councillor Greenlaw, and then Councillor Judith Cox. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair Evans. You know, I think everyone in this room is in support of speedy and efficient decisions after responsibly being discussed in the process of advancing the province's priorities, such as building homes faster. But my question is to the warden and CAO Aikens. Has the province given examples of how and where county has burdened the flow of process in the past term?
CAO Aiken or warden, who would like to take that one?
You go ahead, Mark. I don't recall any.
I'm not aware of any. I'd look to the general manager or even the director of planning if he's heard any, but I'm not aware of any.
And
Councillor Greenlaw.
Just a follow up. So I find the way we get better and we fix our inefficiencies or flaws is through communication. So if the province has not articulated this to us, how do we know what the problem is? And I think that's why many, if not all members in this chamber are questioning the moves that maybe seemed a little more extreme than necessary. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Greenlaw. Councillor Judith Cox, please.
Thank you. I definitely agree with Councillor Dolan. I think we need to do some proactive suggestions. I think just putting our feet down and saying that no, and I like the idea of putting maybe some names forward or they give us names. Councillor Measures, thank you so much. That totally says what I wanted to say, the greater good. And the other one I threw, Councillor Greenlaw, I wasn't elected on council to build homes faster. I was elected on council to represent my constituents and to come here and represent all of Simcoe County. I have done it for many years. And in the last 5 years, I have seen an erosion of democracy. I feel that, I'll be honest, I feel that the province has got out of their lane and into our lane. We're here to listen to our residents. We are the closest politicians to the people with no political party. And that's all we've ever wanted to do here. And for someone to say, your leader can, and I go back to the warden on this. I thought that somewhere in our bylaws it said that if you were the warden, you had to live in the county of Simcoe. But then I find out, well, they can change that bylaw if they want. I believe that Simcoe County is unique, and I believe that the whole point of rural and urban, and all I've been hearing from, I haven't heard from a lot of people, but the people who listen is what is going to happen to the rural areas if someone is appointed who doesn't understand the rural areas and the urban areas and the 2/3 majority. So I believe that we do need to speak up. I also believe that it's probably a done deal, but if we don't speak up and we look back and people say you never said anything, you know, it's the old, if you don't speak up, really, do you have a right to complain about what the end result is? So I believe that we need to all, even if we go back to our councils and have our councils put forward motions, we need to do this just to let our MPPs know, because they're the ones that are down there, that how we feel and that we believe that we should be included in appointing or electing a warden. We've gone along with the other things. There's nothing we can do, but we have to make sure that who's ever in that chair doesn't have over-strong chair and represents all of Simcoe County.
Thank you, Councillor Cox. Any other initial preliminary discussions? We have Councillor Brian Smith and then Councillor Keith Bell, and then what I'm going to do is let everybody speak first. We do have a motion that we'd like to bring up, and we can consider it at that time. And then Councillor McDonald, I believe you're a part of that, and Deputy Warden, you can speak to it at that time. Councillor Brian Smith, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, everybody, for the comments. I have my own thoughts and opinions on this. Some I will share today, and some I will wait until the time is right. But you know, I'm a big supporter of this provincial government. I think that they're doing some great things across this province. But you know, I don't mind saying I didn't support the reduction of this council. But it is what it is. And, you know, we sent that, we asked them to make a decision for us, and they've done so. And so I respect that. But what I cannot live with is the province appointing the chair of this council, who may or may not be from Simcoe County, who may or may not have any history of Simcoe County, and what we have all worked for over several councils here to make what I would consider to be probably the best region in this province. It certainly is the largest county in the province. We are a county that has had, I believe, the biggest business transaction in this province ever, not too long ago. And we are a province that, a county that is very diverse. You know, we heard Chair Measures talk about it being agricultural, and I agree, but it is also industrial, and it is also tourism. It is a very, very diverse community, and 16 municipalities that make that up. I can't even bear to think what it would be or what could happen if a chair was appointed who didn't care about agriculture or who didn't care about tourism, and what that could mean with strong warden powers, especially if 2/3 couldn't overturn those powers to this county that we have all worked so hard. The staff here for decades have worked so hard to make this area what it is and to work towards the greater good. And so I support a lot of what this province has done and is continuing to do. I vehemently do not support the province appointing a chair. However, as my friend Councillor Gordon has said, he thinks it's a done deal, and he's probably not too far off the mark, although I like to believe that they are listening and that they will continue to listen and that they will work to make the best decision that is best suited for this county. I think we do need to absolutely send a strong letter. And I think we do need to ask, although the county will be representing the 16 municipalities in that correspondence, I think it's also important that our individual municipalities, that we have this discussion at each of our individual municipalities as quickly as possible, and each and every municipality also send a strong letter. And I encourage you, Warden Clark, at the Western Wardens Conference to encourage every other warden to do the same thing in their counties and with their municipalities. I believe wholeheartedly that this government will listen. But I can tell you they won't hear us if we don't speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Councillor Bell, please.
I will not waste the House time. I will echo everything he said. The only thing I wanted to address is maybe Chair Measures. The one comment you did make about China appointing somebody, I hope we're not going down that road. That's all. Thank you.
I think Chair Measures' comments were a little tongue-in-cheek, as we all know the difference in political systems is quite different. So we're certainly not going there. Any other comments, general comments with this? And if you have my indulgence, Councillor McDonald, Dolan, and then the Deputy Warden, I'd like to ask the clerk to bring forward the motion that has been preliminary for discussion. If we could just, and then Councillor McDonald, let's bring it up, and then we can have a kick-off discussion on that. Sorry, go ahead if you have any.
Thank you, Chair Evans. I just want, before anything was brought forward, just to clarify, my comments today that I brought forward were not heard, seen by anyone, only myself before I brought it to the House. And I don't know what's going to be up there. What I did do is when I heard this, I think my blood pressure was going up. And I did call the warden to say, how do I go forward with this? Because I don't want people to think that we made backward things, because there was nothing like that. So my biggest thing was for it to be able to speak to it, because it is a concern and there is a very short window for it. And also to make sure that if we can't do anything to Councillor Dolan's point, is that that someone from this House, whether it's on the governance or anything, sits on the board that makes those decisions with the province. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for clarifying that, and thank you for your concern. So, Clerk, please, if you could.
Through you, Mr. Chair. So I do have a resolution here, and I listened to the conversation, and I'll explain it in the hopes that it kind of hits the mark on where council is at currently. And you could certainly look to the mover and seconder, which at this point was identified as Councillor Dolan and Councillor McClellan. The first part of the motion here is to receive the report. The second portion of the motion is that the warden write a letter in response to the regulatory posting and to the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing to share the county's perspectives on Bill 100, the Better Regional Governance Act 2026. And there's kind of two key pieces here, I think, to this motion. The first here is council's preference that county council appoint its own warden. The second part of this is to Councillor Dolan's point, or that specific criteria is included should the minister choose to appoint. Secondly, I think there were some concerns expressed regarding the introduction of strong chair powers, and so that's there as well. And finally, to encourage further engagement and consultation with municipalities as the legislation is considered. And then I think this last piece around, as generally discussed at today's meeting, kind of gives the warden a little bit of flexibility to incorporate some of the other comments and points that came up as well. So at this point, Mr. Chair, I think you could look to the mover and seconder to see if this kind of fits their intent or if they have any changes at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Starting off with Chair Dolan, please.
Thank you. And just one friendly amendment, under including council's strong preference that county council appoint its own warden. If that's okay with the seconder.
Councilor McClellan, that's good with you.
And
Any
my only
further, Madam Chair?
Just if I could, just I believe the motion that the deputy warden had ready was almost identical to this one, so they're very close. So I think we're consistent as far as message is concerned.
Okay, thank you. I'll give Deputy Warden a quick comment. I've got, sorry, Councillor Measures, I've got two just in front. No problem. Councillor McClellan, your concurrence or any additions? Okay, we're good. Councillor McDonald, please, I want to give you the opportunity. I made inference earlier, so.
Thank you, Chair Evans. Just one other thing that we're elected, but we're elected by the people that live in all of our municipalities. That is where we're getting the pushback, asking about this. And that's how come I phoned the warden, because as soon as it was out, they wanted to know. And I think that I'm one of the blessed municipalities, along with Chair Evans, that we don't have mayor powers, because the first thing when that came out, they were all over that and said that's wrong and everything. So we need to go and make sure that our constituents know what this could make a difference in their world of their municipality, also with the county, because that is a bigger thing than 16 or 32 of us having a message. When we have the message of the people, I think that is very, very strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Deputy Warden, I just want to get your input as we move forward before we get into general discussion.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Most of the concerns I have already been shared. I do think that in the letter that we're sending, it's again asking to work with the province on this and to be included as changes do come to the county.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. Okay, for general discussion, we'll start with Chair Measures, then Chair Dolan, Councillor Fryer, and Councillor Anderson. And any additional is needed. You're okay? Okay. Chair Measures.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I think this is a very good start and a good kickoff to this discussion, including the content of the letter that will be prepared by the warden if this passes. I also very much support the indication that we add the word strong preference at the county council. I do take a little exception, though, to the word appoint its own warden. I think we should have the word select its own warden, in the fact that the method of selecting or appointing or creating a warden's position has not been fully fleshed out, and by passing this, we're appointing or creating it as an appointment only. So I would ask that this House support a simple amendment there to change that to select.
Assume that's a friendly amendment.
I'm asking for a friendly, but I will make a motion if necessary.
That's fine. I'll consult.
I have no problem with that friendly amendment.
Councillor McClellan, we're good. Okay. Thank you, Councillor Measures. Appreciate that. Moving on, Councillor Fryer and then Councillor Anderson.
Thank you, Chair. And I too like the amendment to insert the word strong. I don't think we can use it enough in relative to what's being thrown at us. In regards to the circulation, I wholeheartedly agree with Councillor Brian Smith. I do want to see this circulated to the municipalities, and I know it's not written in there, but I just wanted to add, we have a meeting next Monday, and if this could be issued in time for us to get it onto the consent agenda, I'd be really pleased with that, because I think it'll be another 2 weeks after that, and this is in that phase of 30 days. So in my opinion, if it can be circulated as soon as possible, that would be very helpful.
Thank you, Councillor Fryer. Totally agree. We'll work with Mr. Clerk to. Mr. Clerk?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. I think we can certainly circulate it. It would be with the understanding, though, that anything passed today is a recommendation from Committee of the Whole to be debated by County Council on April 28th. So it can certainly be circulated informally as, here's what the county is contemplating at this point, but it won't be a final decision of County Council.
So we may have to do it in the announcement section.
Follow up.
Councillor Fryer, please.
Then I'm fine. I understand what the clerk's just pointed out. I don't see any benefit to circulating it early. It needs to get through that formal stage, and I understand that. Thank you.
Perhaps even just including in a Bill 100 informational item on your agenda, which is something I'll be proposing for our meeting next Wednesday as well. So either way, it does bring it to the floor for consultation. We have Councillor Anderson and then Councillor Judith Cox.
Thank you, and through the chair. It's been stated here clearly today from the majority speakers that there is a desire to see a warden selected from within Simcoe County. And I do believe we should include that as well in the resolution, although it would be captured in a letter from the warden. I think it would serve to give a reason as to why the council is strongly suggesting that it's selected its own warden, that it be representative of the residents of Simcoe County. And I would like to add that to the motion if the mover and seconder would allow it.
Friendly amendment, Chair Dolan?
Yeah, I can accept that friendly amendment as well.
Councilor McClung? Thank you very much. Thank you, Councilor Anderson. Appreciate that. Councilor Judith Cox?
And if we pass this, which I'm sure it will be unanimously, that should also be included that it was unanimous. The only, no offense, when we write motions like this, they're not clearly because I think the clerk said, this isn't one, this is two, this is this. So I don't understand why we can't just have a bullet or something that says, council strong preference, it select its own warden. Next one is specific. So it's very clearly stated. It's not rolling along in a paragraph so that people can clearly see what we have stated. Because sometimes that gets lost in that. And I'm only asking because the public are going to be reading this, and I think it should be clearly stated that this is one, don't have to say one, but it's clearly a paragraph that council strong preference, specific criteria, those ones should be out so they can read them and see them. And we have a council meeting tomorrow, and this is on the agenda, so I will be saying it's an informal motion that has gone through, but I will take it back to our council tomorrow because we won't meet for another 2 weeks. That's just a suggestion to make it clear for the public, which we should tend to do.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Judith Cox. Succinct and more direct, I think, was the trend there. Mr. Clerk.
Yeah, thanks. If I could just go back to the friendly amendment there suggested by Councilor Anderson. So I think what might be most appropriate to specify kind of the eligible elect from within an eligible elector within the county. I would say, including council's strong preference that county council select its own warden from among eligible electors in the county. And I'd look to the mover and seconder to see if that's a friendly amendment.
Chair Dolan?
Thank you. The only thing I would change then, Clerk McGill, is instead of or, I'd put an and. Okay. So that among eligible electors in the county and that specific criteria is included. Does that make sense?
Seeing nodding heads from the mover and the seconder. Any comments on that, Chair or Council? Okay, I think we're good to move forward on that. Mr. Clerk, did you have any other questions? Good with that? Okay, Warden?
Yeah, just very quickly, we'll get the letter out, but I will still be working with the ministry on this because it is my strong opinion, it's very much the same as yours, that to me, it's critical that we choose our own. But even if the province found that individual that they could work with and the House could work with, how well would you be received? Being appointed as opposed to elected by this House. So I think it's critical that they work with us on this. And I have faith in them that they will be open-minded.
Thank you, Warden. Councillor Fire, then Councillor Cabral.
Thank you, Chair Evans, and the indulgence of council here. Procedurally, can we pass this today? I'm the clerk shaking his head no. So,
Mr. Clerk,
I never. We can do that at our own municipal level, but I guess there's no procedural way to do it here.
Mr. Clerk.
Through you, Mr. Chair. So council meetings concluded today. We're in committee of the whole, aside from holding some sort of special emergency meeting, which that could be council's or the warden's prerogative. But I think, allowing the sort of 2-week period here to then debate it again at council is how we typically deal with recommendations like this. And I think, it's a short timeline, but it still allows us and the warden to put some of this into words and meet that May 2nd deadline for comments.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. It does, maintain our procedural integrity. And at the same time, if it's an announcements, we can discuss it on Monday or Wednesday next week. So, okay, moving on. Councillor Cabral.
Thank you, Chair Evans. Agree with everything that's being said, but the one point I kind of thought might be interesting to include possibly in the letter is a reference to the historical nature of the warden's position. Since looks like 1846, William Armson from West Gwillimbury Township was the first selected warden from within county council. So I think that's an important piece just for the government to understand that this is more than just a change. It's a historical and traditional change too. So just the only comment there is I think it reflects back on where this council came from, what it's done, what it's accomplished, and where it could go in the future.
Thank you, Councillor Cabral, for consideration. Perhaps something that's used more in background, but certainly a valid point. Chair Dolan, any comments on that? No? Okay.
Well,
please.
If I could, Ms. So the motion does cover things that are generally discussed at this meeting. So I don't think it has to actually be in the body of the motion.
Procedurally, no. Yeah. Okay. Moving on, I have Councillor Miskimins.
Thank you, through you, Chair. One of the nice things about our own system, and it's all within our procedure bylaw, and I think the clerk kind of intimated it in the report, is should the province decide to appoint a warden to the county, what's the recourse if it's not working out? In this House currently, we have elections every 2 years for the warden. Has that been considered, or should that be considered? Because when it is an appointee, we, members of the House, all have an obligation to those that elected us. And if it's not working out and we have demand for change, what's our recourse? And I don't know if that's been considered by the province or whether that needs to be part of the general discussions that that Warden Clark will be having with the appropriate ministries. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Certainly something that will be included moving forward. But okay, I want to make sure everybody, obviously, huge topic, and I appreciate everybody's comments. This has been, as Councillor Lavoie has mentioned earlier, a great example of how very disparate communities can work together and create something, frankly, out of nothing that represents the wishes and desires and futures of our communities. This is something that I personally very much enjoy, and so should the taxpayers of Simcoe County. And I applaud you all for your efforts today. Before we vote on the motion, are there any further comments? Okay, Mr. Clerk, I'll take the motion. Moved by Councillor Dolan, seconded by Councillor McClellan. Motion is that item CCW 2026-126 dated April 14th, 2026 regarding head of council and council composition update, introduction of Provincial Bill 100, Better Regional Governance Act 2026 be received, and that the warden write a letter in response to the regulatory posting and to the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing to share the county's perspective on Bill 100, the Better Regional Governance Act 2026, including council's strong preference that county council select its own warden from among eligible electors in the county, and that specific criteria is included should the minister choose to appoint its concerns regarding the introduction of strong chair powers and to encourage further engagement and consultation with municipalities as the legislation is considered as generally discussed at the April 14th, 2026 Committee of the Whole meeting. Any further comments before vote? Those in favor? Any opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, Councillor Fryer. Sorry about that. Please.
This is just follow-up to Councillor Gordon's explanation of what he was concerned with at the regulatory registry. And I recalled, because I just read this yesterday, I had read a brief that the Association of Managers clerks and treasurers of Ontario had done up. It was a series of questions they'd asked the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing for response on to try to get some clarity to the strong mayor powers. And that association's has the title of the municipal experts, and I wouldn't challenge that in any way, shape, or form. But it was interesting because I read yesterday and it said the question was, please provide clarity on whether strong mayor powers trump the restricted acts section. And the response was, any powers of the duties of council that are assigned to the head of council are subject to restricted act provisions. So I'm troubled by the fact that now the government's decided that they have to put something through to protect that. So I just wanted to mention that because of Councillor Gordon's comments, because I'm going to be looking into it further, and it made sense what the ministry had said back then. I'm troubled by what I'm hearing now. So I just wanted to share that with the House.
Appreciate that, and thank you, Councillor Fryer. Moving on, Warden, I just want to, we're 11:15. Did you want to take a break? I know you know the schedule better than me in terms of how long we're looking at. Happy to go do either.
Going into residential taxes, what's the feeling of the House? Would you like a break before we go at that one? I'm seeing nods. No, everybody want to push through?
Everybody's shy. Push through?
Push through, all right.
Push through. Okay, we're pushing through. Okay, moving on to item CCW 2026-125, which is multi-residential subclass discounts. We'll start it off with General Manager Wilcox, and I see Leland is here as well for questions.
Thank you very much, Chair. This is a follow-up report to the report that created this subclass a couple of meetings ago. So now that this is in place, we've had more fulsome discussions with our consultant. There is a component that will impact this year, but very unlikely. So that is setting the discount structure for the new class related to rental units that are not non-for-profit, so for-profit. Why I say it's likely not to impact it is that they would have to be built and occupied and in place before the end of the year. So very unlikely that that would happen. But why we're bringing this forward is more about putting out into the community what the discounts are to encourage development for those developments to move forward so that developers know where we're at this point in time and where we're going. The report does outline that this is in place and can be adjusted by council. It is not set in stone. Although any development that takes advantage of this and does get put in place has that discount rate for the duration of the 35 years. So what can happen is you can change it for new developments. And the reason we put option 2 out there is because at this point in time, the significance of the need for rental housing, the acuity of the housing crisis really is pointing to the need to maximize these incentives for developers as much as possible. So that's why we're recommending that we use option 2, which will do that. Nonprofits also have the ability to stack other discounts. There might be other things that affect other multi-res classes as well, but they're not in place yet. But there is funding through like the Canada Builds homes that is out there for nonprofits. So we are recommending option 2. And again, the opportunity is each year we will review this structure and it can be made, it can be changed or removed each year when we review tax policy. With that, and I'll take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, General Manager Wilcox. Questions and comments? We'll start with Councillor Fryer.
Thank you, Chair Evans. And I wholeheartedly support the staff's recommendation on option 2. We've heard consistently from our development community about the high costs and our barrier to building, and we can't do anything about construction costs or inflation, but we can try to do things with our municipal charges I'm eager to see this go through. I'm hopeful with the announcement about the development charges. I think those are two critical areas that we've heard quite a bit about from developers, and I think it aligns as well with the other levels of government attempts in that regard. So I wholeheartedly would like to move option 2. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Farr. I wonder, General Manager Wilcox, I just make a question or comment to you. If you could just give a little background on the amount of multi-residential development construction that's going on in Simcoe County right now and the need for this project moving forward.
Certainly, Chair. I've discussed before, I think when we were initially putting this in place, there has been no multi-res development in the last decade in the county. So the need is very significant. The missing middle is really where this tries to address that and to provide, our youth that are maturing and trying to acquire their first rental, and then ideally stepping stone to something that they can purchase. Thank you.
Thank you, General Manager. Councillor Cabral, thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. And through to General Manager Elliott. Just curious with respect to, or I'm sorry, should be probably for General Manager Fizz, but again, with respect to our own buildings for seniors and whatnot, the multi-res there, are we in a position to take advantage of this this year on any of those bills, or do we anticipate that none of them will be completed this year?
General Manager TBD?
I can speak to that. Sorry. We did ask our tax consultant in terms of where this would apply. It wouldn't apply until 2027. There is a benefit to the nonprofits that are currently in place in the County of Simcoe, so there will be some advantage there.
Councillor Leduc, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. Trevor, you referred to that there's no multi-res. Does the institutional apply to this? So I'm thinking of assisted living locations that we have 2 in Bradford that were built in the last while. Would this discount apply to them?
Through the chair, this would apply in 2027 to those, but not this year.
Because it was already built. Okay. I would just, I'm absolutely in favor of the discounted portion. I'm concerned about the 35%. I wondered if there was some appetite for the House to look at a 25% discount. Option 1 was the preferred option in my mind because it gave the 25% discount for the multi-res, but it's difficult to break it into that affordability and multi-res discount. But I think option 2 being the uniform discount structure, to me, this is going to impact, I know you said there's not a lot of development out there, but we're going to see a lot in Bradford. We're working through those applications now, so they'll be there for us. I think in the original report, there was some misvalues that we're going to see a larger difference from 0.07 to up to as much as I think 3% or whatever it was. So I'm assuming those developments, those ones you're talking about, the locations were in the southern portion of the county. So I'm absolutely in favor of wanting to put this residential units out there, get our young people into opportunities, but at the same time, I think the discount of 35% is going to impact us a lot greater at our level. So I was hoping the House would be interested in taking it to a 25% discount if that's an option the House would look at.
Thank you, Councillor Leduc. General Manager Wilcox.
Thank you very much. I do understand the concern in terms of where we're going with this. I just want to reemphasize that that could be done in the second year. So if we do see significant development, we could step back to a 25% rate. It would lock in whoever has developed and taken advantage of that, and then lower it down for future. I would love to have that problem. I really would. I'd love to see that this spurs on rental development like we've never seen. That would be a good problem to have. So that's where we're coming from. Thank you.
Need the spark, and then we can watch the flame. Councillor Leduc.
Well, the difference is we just shift the tax burden. We just shift it over to the single residential housing. So that's the difference. I mean, it's great. I'd love to see the same problem, but at the same time, we're just shifting it to the other area. It goes against a single family. So it's difficult. We have to put that tax burden on them. So I was looking at a reduction and still want to get the multi-res going. I agree. We've got a project in Bradford that has been sitting now for at least 5 years, and trying to get this gentleman to go, 268 units of rental, you certainly want to see that growth. That's important. It's building residents for everybody. We need that different kind of model, but this is a difficult one for us. I think it's going to cost on the road, but I agree. Like you said, if it's a problem we have in the second year, then we can readdress that in the second year. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Leduc. Any further comments? Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Leduc and seconded by Councillor Fryer. Thank you. The motion is that item CCW 2026-125 dated April 14th, 2026 regarding multi-residential subclass discounts be received and that council support option number 2 to set a uniform discount structure at 35% for all newly adopted subclasses as generally outlined in item CCW 2026-125 and that the necessary bylaw be presented to set the 2026 discount for the new multi-residential municipal discount subclass. Further comments? Those in favor? Any opposed? Motion is one opposed. Thank you. And motion is carried. With that, are there any other matters for consideration under performance management? Seeing none, Warden, I'll pass the chair back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Nicely done. Two big issues there that we had to deal with today. Closed session. Does anybody feel the need to go into closed session for the second item? I'm not seeing any, so then I'll read the motion that, let me find them here. That the committee of the whole, don't need that one. The direction in camera and recommendations contained within confidential item CCW 2026-105 dated April 14th, 2026 regarding a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by a municipality or local board be approved and voted upon in accordance with section 239(6)(b) of the Municipal Act. Moved by Councillor Sondu, second by Councillor Measures. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And the direction, other page. The direction in camera and recommendations contained within confidential item CCW 2026-106 dated April 14, 2026 regarding a proposed or pending acquisition of land by a municipality or local board be approved and voted upon in accordance with section 239(6)(b) of the Municipal Act. Moved by Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Bell. All in favor? That is carried. And now I would look at the April 14th, 2026. Yes.
Sorry, Warden, if I could just briefly just an update to procedure. In the motion that I just passed, I used as a mover was Councillor Leduc, and Councillor Leduc voted in the negative. So therefore, I'll have to replace the.
I believe that's okay, is it not? Yes, you can move to put it on the floor. You don't have to support it.
Okay, well, I appreciate your indulgence. Sorry about that, Warden. We're all good. No, that's fine. No, I was.
I only oppose it because of the 25%, 35%.
I get it. No, and that's fine. No worries. I just was like, wasn't sure. No. That's
okay. Thank you for the clarification. And that April 14th, 2026 committee, the whole be adjourned at 10:56. Moved by alternate Councillor Cox, second by Councillor Anderson. All in favor? Carried. Economic development, Mr. Chair, what time are you thinking?
Apologies. We have no presentations and delegations that we're made aware of. All right, so we are going to go to the consent list and matters for consideration. Item 7.1 EDS 2026-109 Tariff Action Plan Progress Report. Does anybody have anything they wish to add or ask? Okay, as we discussed, very well put together. I like the ideas that you're doing and turning over every stone and every rock, which is good. All right, so I need to move in a second to the receiver, please. All right, Councillor Watson and Deputy Warden Clark. All those in favor? Carried, thank you. All right, on to item 7.2 EDS 2026-107 Tourism Film Industry Toolkit Project. Anybody have anything they wish to add on this matter? Okay, seeing none. Again, like the fact that it's coming down here, reaching out to further spaces in the community, which is good. Build it up. I need to move in a second, please, then. All right, Councillor Watson, Warden Clark, all those in favor?
Sorry, Councillor Fowler, we do have a presentation on that item.
I'm sorry, I apologize. I've been getting ahead of myself. All right.
Department we're embarking on a new project, which is turning the County of Simcoe into a film industry destination. And it is one of these projects that has potential to positively impact all member municipalities. So we really did just want to quickly shine some light on this initiative and offer the opportunity to ask any questions if you have it. So back in 2025, the municipalities of Severn, Oromodante, and Romera approached staff to collaborate on a countywide film initiative. So the backstory, if I understand correctly, film companies were coming to these municipalities and looking to set up shop, and staff didn't feel that they had the resources or tools required to properly support the businesses and the film companies. So they brought this project to Tourism Simcoe County, and we definitely saw it as a fantastic initiative to take on with their support. And we saw an opportunity to generate new forms of revenue for existing stakeholders, create a positive impact, economic impact for the county as a whole, and promote regional multi-day visitations. What we found is these film companies, when they're coming, they're not just coming for one day, they're staying for multiple days and visiting multiple destinations. And using hotels, caterings, renting out downtown businesses and so forth. So we saw definitely the potential to invest. Of course, we have to do our research before embarking on a project like this. So we looked at the industry as a whole. And at the provincial level, we saw that there was more than 45,000 jobs supported by the film and television production industry, over $3 billion spent annually on film and television production, more than 400 productions filmed. And then when we zoomed in a little further, we saw that there was already over 90 businesses listed on the Ontario Creates website, which is the resource that film scouts and film companies use when they're trying to source locations. That's their starting point, and there was already over 90 businesses registered. So that just shows that there is already a demand, and film companies are already looking at Simcoe County as a destination. So just more reason to make sure that we're prepared. We also noticed that Simcoe County offers unique locations and settings that are not found in the GTA. but we still remain relatively close to Toronto's major production hub. So again, another opportunity to not just welcome film companies here to film and set up shop, but to actually grow as a film destination. So what came out of that was this film industry toolkit. So we worked with Southern Georgian Bay Media Association as the lead consultants. They deal with the film industry every day and are definitely subject matter experts. What I found is the film industry, they certainly speak their own language. So it's nice to have a subject matter expert leading this initiative. We also had a core working group with the Township of Severn, Romero, and Ormodonte. And of course, we had support from our friends in EDO that provided input along the way as well. And the toolkit is really just developed to help these businesses become film friendly, tells them every step they need to take along the way throughout that process with the end goal of becoming registered on the Ontario Creates website. Another example of how this toolkit can be used, if you're a restaurant and the film company wants to, say, rent your business for the day, helps them with insurance, with pricing. There's going to be lost profits by closing. So how do they price accordingly? And then they can actually take that to another whole layer by saying, okay, well, you're probably going to need catering. So our business, we're a restaurant, so we could sign in the contract that we want to do the catering for staff and crew. So there's a lot of layers here where we can actually train businesses so they're prepared when the film companies come knocking, but it's a positive both for the film companies and the business. And so again, we can have those film companies coming back. So what's next? Now that we have this toolkit, I won't go point by point here, but essentially what we're attempting to do is market and promote this toolkit to municipalities, municipal staff, and businesses. So we're trying to get the word out this year so that businesses can begin training and becoming film friendly. So we have already sent it out through our tourism industry newsletter. EDO was kind enough to send it out through their industry newsletter as well. And we're hosting in-person workshops. So we had Southern Georgian Bay Media Association host 2 in-person workshops with municipal staff and businesses, which was really successful. And we will continue to host these workshops and train businesses as opportunities arise. We'll work directly with municipal staff and let them know what we're up to and how they can get involved. And we're also building out a webpage at experience.simcoe.ca. So we'll have the toolkit listed and available to download and share, but we'll also continue to build that page out with relevant resources. How can municipalities help? We would love if your staff could act as local ambassadors. So share the toolkit with your stakeholders, consider film bylaws or policies that support film tourism growth and management. So, I could build on that by saying, consider what your neighbors are doing. I think the more consistent it is between the municipalities, the more appealing it is for a film company to come here. Encourage film-friendly locations to list their locations on Ontario Creates on the Ontario Creates website, because that really is what, as I've said, that's what the film companies use as a starting point to figure out where the destination they're going to pick to film. Lastly, I'll say it's already started. So this is a success story that was filmed in Simcoe County and Barrie and Orillia. It's Finding Her Edge, which is a next Netflix film. It was, as I said, it was filmed in Barrie and Orillia, but this is an example of how this is a regional program and the importance of developing Simcoe County as a film destination as a whole, because they also went across to Wasaga Beach to film at the ice rinks. Another point worth mentioning is the daily direct economic impact is 50,000 plus daily. And that's based on location rentals, cast, crew accommodations, per diem spending, local workforce, and services. So it's working. Our goal here is to create a film destination and create a positive experience, not just for the businesses and the residents, but the film crews. So they want to come back and film again And Finding Her Edge was greenlit for a season 2. So that's a good example of that. So that was it. Hopefully quick and painless. We did just want to shed a little light on this new exciting program. And the toolkit is available on our websites, and we will be sharing it around to all municipal staff. But if you have any questions, please ask. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I just want to say that before I ask anybody anything else, I've seen firsthand the results. In Innisfil, one of our local motels was used for Titans. We've had Rogers down off Innisfil Beach for commercials. Reacher was filmed in one of the local bars. I've seen the effect it has on the community, how it stirs people up, gets people involved, but also they find the local businesses to support, which I think is phenomenal. If we can do it with one city, we can do it with 16, that'd be awesome. So that's fabulous. I think it's great work. Thank you for doing that. Any questions? Councilor Rawson?
Thank you. No question, just a comment. This just exemplifies the amazing work done by this team on a regular basis. I loved when I read the report and I saw this project on the agenda. I go back a couple months ago. We were reached out for our municipality that a local group received some funding from the Canada Media Fund, and they're working in partnership with the CBC to partner on a documentary in French and English about marine history in Georgian Bay and the town of Pantankshin, and bringing in culture with our Métis community. And we've done some work on that. And I just look at this project and kind of the work that's been done with things like this toolkit, how we're setting up our partners and our stakeholders for success. So amazing. Thank you so much.
Does anybody have anything else to wish to add? All right, seeing none, I need to move over to seconder, please. All right, Councilor Rawson, Councilor Hamlin, that sounds good. Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. We have no more other matters for consideration, no confidential matters for consideration. So we'll go to adjournment with the understanding that the meeting for Tuesday, May 12th has been canceled. So I need to move over to seconder for that. All right, Councilor Rawson, Councilor Hamlin, all those in favor? Thank you, everybody.